justice for all.
Mr. Neal, can you take roll call for the record, please?
Sure. Commissioner Biasco?
Here.
Commissioner Whitaker?
Here.
Lisa Catania? Commissioner Valioso?
Here.
Michael Pierce?
Here.
Commissioner Rakowski?
Here.
Commissioner Bury?
Here.
And myself, George Eagles, present.
Thank you. Can I have the approval of the minutes from the November 7th, 2019 Board of Commissioners meeting and the November 14th, 2019 Board of Commissioners meeting also?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. We also met in executive session on the 22nd to discuss personnel matters and litigation issues. So with that said, we have two proclamations tonight. Both of these citizens live in Commissioner Joe Neary's ward, so we're going to ask him to read these proclamations for us.
Ed, you want to come up for Caroline?
The purpose of the proclamations is to honor somebody, two people in this case, one of whom is not here unfortunately, that have brought positive publicity to the township. And Ed has done it a number of times, but it happened to be in the paper, happened to catch my eye, so we wanted to recognize him. So the proclamation says, whereas the township of Upper Chichester takes pride in its sense of community and citizen involvement, and whereas Edward Dochney of 2531 Larkin Road is an alumnus of Holy Family Regional School, and whereas on December 7th, 2019, Edward was presented with the Holy Family Regional School Leadership Award, recognizing him as an alumnus who embodies the characteristics of leadership. Whereas Edward attended Holy Savior Grade School and graduated from St. James High School in 1965. And whereas while serving in Vietnam in the infantry, Edward received the Purple Heart and 2 Bronze Stars for valor. And whereas after discharge from the military became the golf course professional at Edgemont Country Club. And whereas while golfing professionally won a multitude of championships and awards, including the Philadelphia Section PGA Tournament, the 1984 Match Play Championship, 1985 National Club Professional Championship, 1986 Stroke Play Championship, winning twice on the Senior Tour, winning and placed in the U.S. Senior Open, and whereas Ed has been named the 1985 Club Professional of the Year, now therefore be it proclaimed that we, the Board of Commissioners of Upper Chichester Township, do hereby honor Ed Dochney on him receiving the Holy Family Regional School Leadership Award on this 12th day of December, signed by the President of the Township Commissioners, Michael Gaudiuso, and witnessed by George Needles, our Secretary. So if we could give Ed.
Thank you. Can I say something?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. I was Russell Fisher. Played Little League with Russ Bianco. It's very humbling to stand up here and say anything. You know, I don't know what to say other than thank you. All this stuff I didn't know was that good, to be honest with you. So I just had fun doing it, and thank you for standing. And thanks for everything. And I enjoyed good food.
Maybe all.
You want to everybody up?
We all can stand?
No,
Come on, Karen, you get it. Do I need to hold this or you
All right, let's move. All right. Slide over.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, the other person is in Washington.
This is Washington.
She's in D.C. this evening, but I'm going to read this. This is also in the paper at the same time. So whereas the Township of Upper Chichester takes pride in its sense of community and citizen involvement, and whereas Carly Aquino of 4105 Virginia Court is an alumnus of Holy Family Regional School, and whereas on December 7, 2019, Carly was presented with the Holy Family Regional School Colleen Betzel Young Alumni Award, recognizing her as an alumnus in the past 20 years that has made a positive impact on the global community. And whereas Carly graduated in 2010 from St. Joseph's School, then attended Villa Maria Academy and George Washington University. And whereas while attending George Washington University, Carly was an active member of Alpha Phi Omega National Service Sorority, performing service activities which included working with formerly incarcerated men in the DC metro area and at local food banks. And whereas also while attending George Washington University, served as chair for George Washington University International Affairs and completed an independent research project which focused on the economic development and reconstruction in the Rwanda coffee industry. And whereas in Carly's summer internship, she worked with low-income community members, connecting them with housing, employment, social services, and educational opportunities. And whereas Carly is currently serving in the Peace Corps in Benin, West Africa, as a sustainable agricultural systems agent, organizing partnerships to combat gender inequality, poverty, and malnutrition, while coordinating training for women's groups on small business skills, nutrition, and organic agriculture. Now therefore be it proclaimed that we, the Board of Commissioners of Upper Chichester Township, do hereby honor Carly Aquino on her receiving the Holy Family Regional School Colleen Betzel Young Alumni Award on this 12th day of December 2009. So this is a very prestigious award that she received, and her father used to be a police officer in the city of Philadelphia, so the apple didn't fall far from the tree with her involvement. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Lear, for reading the proclamations for us tonight. With that said, I'd like to open up the meeting to citizen comments, and I'll start on the right side of the room. Anybody from the first row like to come up and speak? Anybody from the second row? Anybody all from the right side of the row like to come and speak? Yes.
My name is Laura Schreiber. I live at 6,000 Village Way, apartment 404 in Creekside Village. I'm here as a secretary of the Board of Trustees of the library, and I'm also president of the Friends of the Library. I'm here because I'm wondering what's happening. We were contacted in August. We have been about having a new library on Kingsman Avenue, or Kingsman Road, and we have been trying to follow all of the wishes of you and George, and we have gotten signatures from people in that area, more than half. For those people who've never answered the door, we went there twice around the whole area, got signatures, and then we sent a letter. And some people have responded to that letter in a positive way, but we have not been able to have a meeting lately with you or George or anything about this, and they said they're putting it off until January. I guess that's the earliest, and I just wondered what was going on, because when George first came to us in August, I think it was like, this is a plan, and we'd like to get your input, and we were very positive for that plan. And now it is December.
I emailed Betsy earlier this week, and I told her I won't be available until after the
I
holiday.
understand that, and we don't know why we can't have a meeting before then, before January. Why wouldn't it be allowed, you know?
Well, anybody can meet, but I personally wouldn't be available until after the holidays, and I'd be more than happy to meet with the library. My understanding about the petition is this: there's roughly 17,000 to 18,000 residents that live in Upper Chichester. We got a petition with 150 signatures, and some of the signatures on the petition were duplicate names, and some of the signatures on the petition were individuals that didn't live in the township also. So I wanted to meet with the library to see them to maybe come up with a better way of how to get the community support larger.
This was not asked for the community support, it was asked for a specific neighborhood.
Ma'am, I don't know what information that was.
That was what we were told.
We were,
George, isn't that true?
Ma'am, the intent was to see if that particular community was interested in it, and if the whole township was interested in it also. So the signatures that were received from the neighborhood, some of them were duplicate names.
I know, and we've straightened that out,
Right.
and we have it all cleaned up.
Right. So I like to get the community behind it more, and I like to sit down with the library to see how we can work together in order to do that.
We would love to sit down.
It's just,
Laura, have you sent the updated petitions to the township? Has Betsy sent the updated?
I don't know.
petitions?
But all I know is that, you know, we were only asked for that specific
So
area.
that's initially, yes. So initially, we want
So
buy-in.
now
from
you're
that.
saying you want the whole community.
So let me finish. Initially, we want the immediate community that's going to be impacted by the library going in that spot, right? So we want to know the people that are living there, if they want it, if they want that to be there as a part of the home, right? So that's the first step. The second part of that is buying from the community, okay? So when we received the petitions, there were a combination of petitions. The first one, the one that has been sitting at the township, at the library. And then Betsy put that in, as well as the one with.
Where we went around the neighborhood.
Exactly, where it was multiple or duplicate names, so that's been cleaned up, as you see. Okay, and since then, we've been trying to get a meeting. Dawn hasn't been available, I wasn't available, Mike wasn't available. So we've been trying to schedule a meeting so that we can review next steps. So, if you want to, I'm in town, I'm not, and I think George will be in town, but Mike won't be here. So we can schedule something before the first of the year as a, check-in, but nothing formal is going to happen until January.
I understand. But I'd like, as long as we can clear up what we need to do, because we're very willing to do lots of stuff.
Right.
I just think we need more buy-in from the community. If I have roughly 18,000 residents, right, and I got 150 signatures, that doesn't speak volumes.
Well, that wasn't what we were asked to do.
Well, I think that wasn't communicated clearly to you.
Well, I just like, as long as we can move forward. To get to have a mock-up of what a library would look like in the park, that's a very exciting thing for us. And to say this would be an area. To have it just keep getting, changing the rules or what we're doing, it just doesn't seem fair.
Just real quick, this is a very large project, and, as you probably have seen being in the township for some time, in government, large projects take a significant amount of time, right? So like, between August and now is like a microcosm in time in government. There's so many different steps and things that have to happen and processes. So meeting in January, I think, is a very reasonable time frame to start and lay down what's the next steps. At this point, we need to flush out those signatures that came in, because the signatures came in to me to vet as the township manager, and the first thing I had to do was go through, and I saw that the library gave me duplicate signatures. So my report back to the board was, I received signatures, but there's duplicates here. So we're gonna need to vet this further with the library. And I think that that's what we're trying to get to, is where is the list of the people that don't do duplicates?
All right, well, I hope we can in January.
Yeah,
I hope you can set up time to meet and get it done, because it's very frustrating.
We will set up a time, but
Because
just,
we can't even, well, never mind.
Right, but I just
we
want-
can't move forward either.
I just want to make it clear that we didn't change any parameters. The parameters which I stated and which Ms. Whitaker stated also, that was communicated clearly. So, I just want to get that out on the record.
Well, obviously it didn't come through.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
What is the expectation of the library on, I think we did, trust me, I'm the first to tell you, government's either reverse or stop. And it frustrates me sitting up here with one of the library things, right, because we just snap your fingers, no, it doesn't happen. But I understand, I just don't understand, I think this board took this step by having a draft of a building, not a guaranteed building of what is going to be over, to give people the concept of this is what we would like to see
Right.
for the future. Your future may not be until 2 to 3 years from now, but it sounds to me we want it tomorrow.
No, we can't, no, I don't expect it to be more, because we have to raise all the money for the library. It doesn't come from the township. The money for building the library is, we have to get. We understand that. That is not going to be money that's coming from taxes. But we can't even apply or think about it until we have a definite plan, a definite space, a definite architectural plan. We can't move ahead. And that's why we think it'll be years before this is built. I hope I live that long. But it is in the future. We understand that. But the library has grown out of its space. That horrible referendum that we had that went down. Since that time, I think we had maybe 1,200 members of the library. We now have over 4,000. That's a lot for a little library like that in this community. And it has so many programs and does such good work for no matter what age in the community. Children, adults, seniors, people looking for jobs, and we're there to help them. I'm sorry I'm taking up so much time, but it has become something that is very important to me. Okay, thank you very much. And I hope you can set up a meeting before you go on vacation, that you'll have it set up, just a time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Anybody from the left side would like to come up and speak? All right. Let the record show that there's no citizen comments. We will move on to our professional reports. We will start with our engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is a copy of my report for those who'd like to review it. I have the following items for consideration this evening. I'd like the board to consider a motion authorizing the final payment to A.F. Damon for the 2019 road program in the amount of $30,304.95, $15,643 from the liquid fuels fund, and $14,661.95 from the general fund.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the board to consider a motion authorizing the final payment to Innovative Construction Services Incorporated for the 2018 road program in the amount of $4,496.25 from the general fund.
So
This is
moved.
retainage.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried.
Thank you. The third is to consider a motion authorizing the township engineer to bid the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Signage Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried.
And the last motion for consideration this evening is to consider the resolution making application to the Delaware County 2020 Community Development Block Grant Funding Program.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mike, I think there should be discussion as we have said projects.
It's just gonna-
Okay.
The board, as I noted in the hearing, the board has the ability to offer two projects to the county council for consideration. The first would be a priority project, and the second would be a alternate project, should the priority project not be selected.
So is there any consideration for a priority project?
Well, I think the projects that in the newer areas tend to be ones where we spend more capital money than perhaps we have planned for next year. So I would eliminate those. So I would probably want to stay with the Johnson Avenue area, rather, those projects. Or the neighborhood vision plans. So they would be my priority, either the first three or the wrong of us.
I'm good with the Johnson Avenue. The Wayfarer sign, is that the welcome to other Baptist sign?
The welcome to the neighborhood, so it would say, like, for example, those that are being placed in Excelsior Village, we have the street plate signs, which I believe you may have seen the mock-ups. The welcome sign, so it will say, welcome to Excelsior Village, welcome to Twin Oaks Village. And there's some individualization to those in that the Heart and Soul program, along with our township planner, has come up with an insignia for each one of those villages or those areas. So each one will have an individual insignia on both the street plate sign and the welcome sign. Both Twin Oaks and Excelsior Village have playgrounds, so there'll be a new sign in those playgrounds too. So looking at that's probably a great project for two of the newer areas, eligible areas. And I would suggest to you, because it was brought up, the neighborhood vision plan, you currently have just approved a 322 corridor study plan that was done. In that, the Bethel Grove area was discussed. That may be the next area that you may want to look at for the vision plan. And I'm just throwing that out there. I didn't mention that during my discussion with the hearing, but it is something that you may want to consider.
That's the last one, you could include that with the Twin Oaks Farm neighborhood, because really it's kind of, it would end up being hopefully like the commercial destination for those, commercial and recreational destination for those residents.
I'm for that one. That's my way.
Number five.
That would be number 5.
Number 5.
Okay, so that's at least 3 or 4 of us that agree that number 5 should be one of the priorities, one of the two.
So 1 and 5?
Now, 1 is not the, 2 is the one that we applied for before, correct?
That's correct. Actually, we applied for 1 and 2 prior.
So options
So
1 and
5 and 1?
Option 1, we'll make option 1 the first one, and option 5 the second.
5, 1.
I would do 5 and 1, do it that way, make 5 a priority. So, motion to make number 5, the neighborhood vision plans, the first priority, and number 1, the Johnson Avenue Park rehabilitation, number 2, the engineer.
Okay, so this will be Bethel Avenue.
Second.
So would we be doing the one neighborhood plan? Let's go with one neighborhood plan. So you have some options, However, in the 322 plan, it was identified as needing to pay for that corridor. So you could pick off two of the plans. You could pick off the Widow's Farms plan by including that with that. So doing that neighborhood and that line.
Okay. Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried.
That is resolution 2019-45.
I'll get that to you tomorrow. Just a few updates. Currently, the contractor is working on Burkeville Avenue. There will be some road closures, however, will only be one lane closures for the Burkeville Park project. It's to get the storm sewer across the mill road. I just wanted to mention that as well. From Ted and family and all of our staff, I would wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And please be safe during the Christmas holidays. Don't drink too much, anyone. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you. There's no other comments for engineer. We'll move on to our solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everybody. First action item would be considered an ordinance setting the 2020 Upper Chichester Township real estate tax rate at 5.10 mils, which represents a zero tax increase.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried.
Second action item would be considered an ordinance authorizing the imposition of a fee for the collection of trash in Upper Chichester Township in the amount of $210.
So moved.
Second.
One comment. That is a $10 increase, so everybody knows. It wasn't a $210 increase. That's all.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried.
And just for the record, both of those ordinances were advertised in accordance with the First Place Township Code requirements for ordinance advertisements specifically related to the budget as well as the collection of fees. Those proofs of publication would be added to the record of the minutes as well. The third action item is to consider a motion authorizing the township solicitor to enter into negotiations for the purchase of the property at 2132 Blue Ball Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
Fourth item is an action item is to consider a motion authorizing the township solicitor to prepare a draft of an ordinance establishing an Act 172 tax relief program in Upper Chichester Township for first responders and the volunteer fire companies.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
Next action item is to consider a motion authorizing the township solicitor to prepare an ordinance repealing Chapter 55 meetings from the Upper Chichester Township Code of Ordinances. This is an ordinance that had been entered into many, many years ago, and candidly, the meeting times are addressed in ordinance and should really be done by resolution as is general business of the board. In order to do that and to confirm that, we would need an ordinance repealing the current ordinance that is present in our code of ordinances.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
The next action item is to consider a motion approving the extension applied for by AutoZone for the subdivision and land development ordinance application, which is currently pending before the Planning Commission.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion is carried.
I have no other action items at this time. I would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a safe holiday season.
Thank you. There's no questions for our solicitor. We will move on to our township manager report.
Good evening, everyone. The first item up I have is our 2020 Upper Chichester Township budget. Just going to read off the numbers. We typically don't have a crowd for this meeting, so we do some of the presentations through. We hold budget meetings starting in August through till December, where we flush all this out as public meetings, but I'll speak a little bit to what we have here. The general fund, actual fund revenue will be $3,355,173.82. Expenditures matching that. The street lighting fund, $124,000 even. again, expenditures matching that number. Open Space and Recreation Fund, $397,806.31. Expenditures matching that number as well. The expenditures match all the way down, so I'm gonna just read it through. Fire and Ambulance Fund, $723,473. Police Fund, $6,407,990.56. Sanitation Fund, $1,904,570.56. Debt Service Fund, $691,203.84. Capital Reserve Fund, $3,043,205 even. And Liquid Fuels Fund in $468,027.38 for a total of $17,115,450.47. This budget represents that $10 increase for the trash fee in the sanitation fund, as well as no increase to the real estate tax millage. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the ninth year in a row that there's been no increase to.
We thought 13, 16, 17.
9 years where there's been no increase to the millage here for the township. A lot of good things going on in this budget. There's going to be $460,000 dedicated to street repaving. $3 million is various capital projects that have either started this year or will be starting next year. There's grants that are paying for a portion of that. About a third of that is covered by grant funds right now. And then as well, we're implementing new accounting software, and this budget includes adding an accounting professional to the accounting department, as well as putting in different safeguards to protect the good stewards of the taxpayers' money. So I'm very pleased with working with the board this year on this budget. Everybody provided a lot of input. The staff worked really hard on getting this budget together. And it is, a copy of this is up on our website. We put it out on our Facebook post, and it's also available in the office during business hours.
It's also sitting on the table.
Also for the record, it is a balanced budget, so good job, all making that happen again.
So I ask the board to consider approving the motion approving the 2020 other Chichester Township budget. Oh, did you vote?
We didn't vote on it.
We didn't vote on the budget.
I apologize.
So there's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried.
All right, the next item up, in conjunction with that and with the new accounting software and structure, we need to close a multitude of our current bank accounts and open one bank account, which will be strictly to only allow for deposits as part of our new fraud prevention that we're putting in place with our TD Bank. One account will only take deposits, another account will only be able to write checks, as long as they have a batched file that proves that in advance.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried.
That is resolution 2019-46. Annually, we pass a resolution memorializing our insurance policies for Upper Chichester Township with Gibbons Insurance and A.J. Gallagher.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion is carried.
That is resolution 2019-47. The next item I have is a resolution authorizing escrow release for $1,500 to the Mayor Group for the project at 16 Buck Lane.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
That is resolution 2019-48. The next item I have is board consider motion approving the 2020 township meeting schedule.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Go ahead.
Are we gonna discuss the time? Is that now or is that January? Change the time?
There was two,
We can't change the time on on our meetings until we repeal the
Oh,
ordinance.
sorry, okay.
There was a change for the planning board, they're going to start a half hour earlier, as well as the zoning hearing board is going to start a half hour.
there's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
And that'll be sent over to the New York Times tomorrow and to the school for advertising. I ask the board to consider a motion approving the 2020 holiday schedule for FOP employees, Teamsters, and non-union employees of the township Township.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
I have a couple of real estate tax refunds to consider by the tax collector to need approval. Consider a motion approving a payment to Upper Providence Township in the amount of $92.85 for a misapplied real estate tax payment for 471 Kirk Lane, Media, PA 19063.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
Consider a motion approving a payment to the Chichester School District in the amount of $3,167.92 for a misapplied real estate tax payment for 57 Andrew Court, Booth Lynn, PA 19061.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
And my final item tonight, consider a motion approving a payment to the County of Delaware in the amount of $124.91 for a misapplied real estate tax payment for 3029 West 6th Street, Chester, PA 19013.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
I'd just like to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas,